All right, folks, we got another one coming on in, and we're talking about Franklin Templeton, a $1.5 trillion asset manager that is now filed for a spot Ethereum ETF. In today's video, we're going to ask the question, are they maybe interested at all in filing for a spot XLM ETF? Is that going to be coming next? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And despite the fact that we are talking about XLM here today, I did want to let you guys know that I do have my David Schwartz Simpson character shirt on. So, got to represent, even though we're talking about XLM in today's video. Now, quick programming alert. Tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be airing the interview with legendary investor Rick Rule, just an absolute beast in the commodity investment space. Track record, incredible, and we get his insights on the macroeconomic situation, the U.S. economy, and then where we can find opportunity and real value in the commodity space. And then I did talk to him about the new financial system and how he's actually part of it. He's actually set up a battle bank, is what it's called. He set up his own bank where you can actually deposit your gold and silver and collateralize it and take out loans against it. And so we talked about, how that's the start of new financial services, products, and offerings that are coming here in this new financial system. And I got to commend his effort for being a part of that. And he's a legendary investor. You guys aren't going to want to miss this one tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys hit that notification bell. You don't want to miss it. And we got to talk with Rick about data points like this. Young people in China are stockpiling gold. The stereotype is becoming smashed. In 2023, individuals aged 25 to 34 emerged as the primary consumers of gold in China, with their share of gold consumption soaring from 16% to 59%. And that would be millennials. That would be my generation. And I'm one of those weirdos in my generation that's stacking precious metals, I guess. And it's more popular over in China, out in Asia. In our culture, I was talking about this with Rick, I feel like we all just want to get rich quick off crypto bros, right? We got a group of Bitcoin bros that get rich quick off crypto bros, and we're not interested in the precious metals. But for me, I've been able to sleep peacefully at night knowing that I have blackout barter and systems that are outside, or investments that are outside of the system. And then I've been able to have balance on the other side by being incredibly bullish and long on the DLT, XRP, and other cryptocurrencies. And that balance in my portfolio has been maintained through adding precious metals. Now, continuing on, speaking of digital assets that we're pretty excited about, we have the Intro Act report from April of 2023 shared here by Wrath of Kahneman, which highlights Ripple in many places and gets the XRP relation right. But the line that really stands out is, quote, Ripple is the only enterprise blockchain company today with products in commercial use. And I think that this is from April. Obviously, the Franklin Templeton Stellar deal was already going on, which is another example of a company, an enterprise blockchain company with real commercial use, but it is very few and far between in the space. You guys know that very well. And, I was telling Rick about my audience. I said, yeah, most of us in my community, we believe that 99% of crypto goes away and all that's going to be left is those with real utility. And it's being cited again and again and again in these studies, reports, and white papers, trials and tests of actually using the blockchain. They all come back with great results on the XRP ledger. And as far as Ripple's use case out of it, they're actually taking the product to market and getting real commercial use out of it. Love to see it. Now, we also love to see this as well as far as institutional money pouring into this space. A second Ethereum ETF filing now with Franklin Templeton joining ARC21 shares, shared here by our good friend Chad Steingraber. Here's the first S1 filed, and that was for ARC21, and that was on February 7th. Now we have Franklin Templeton, which is a $1.5 trillion asset manager joining the party. But what's so interesting is this is the CEO, Jenny Johnson. Listen to what she has to say about Bitcoin. This is really incredible.
Bitcoin is the greatest distraction from the greatest disruption that is coming to financial services. I think AI is probably the other big disruption.
Now that's incredible, folks. Bitcoin is the greatest distraction from the greatest disruption that is coming to financial services. And this original post here put together by XX1133 12/21/11. Franklin Templeton loves Stellar, don't they? They couldn't be more blatant about it. Pay attention. Bitcoin is a distraction from the real utility networks like Stellar growing behind the scenes. but the masses continue to follow celebrity endorsements of Bitcoin in the meantime, the greatest rug of all time. Quote, Bitcoin will go to effing zero. And of course, that would be my mentor, Dan Pena. And what he shared right here is, this is the filing by Franklin Templeton, the Franklin On-Chain U.S. Government Money Fund, the first U.S. registered mutual fund to process transactions and record share ownership on the Stellar blockchain. And they say blockchains like Stellar's are important to the investment process of the future, and assets built on blockchain rails like the Franklin On-Chain U.S. Government Money Fund will eventually be interoperable with the rest of the digital asset ecosystem. Roger Baston, head of digital assets at Franklin Templeton. Now, what many people don't even know, this is a big part of why Stellar actually is in the lead as far as the real-world assets being tokenized on-chain. Real-world assets, RWAs, is the hot term, and tokenization, Internet of Value, terms that we're very familiar with because we've been talking about this type of utility. We've been talking about derivatives. We've been talking about precious metals, real estate, equity, all coming on-chain. Meanwhile, the kids were putting JPEGs on, making little NFT deals, and that was kind of cute. But we were talking about, no, NFTs leads to tokenization, and it leads to this, where we start to move financial products and services on-chain, real-world assets on-chain as well. And believe it or not, actually, Stellar is actually in the lead. When we find this clip right here, Ito Farina, there's a reason why $1.5 trillion asset manager firm Franklin Templeton chose Stellar XLM. You can tokenize anything you want on Stellar. And on top of that, you can do it much easier, more scalable, faster, and more secure than Ethereum or Bitcoin. But listen to this story here. This is the CEO, Danelle Dixon, explaining how Franklin Templeton didn't even talk to Stellar before they launched this mutual fund. They had already filed the S1 with the SEC before they even talked to Stellar. This is incredible, folks. Listen in on this.
The real-world assets traded on Stellar, I believe, are more than every other platform combined right now because of the partnership that you have with Franklin Templeton. So,
yay,
yeah.
everybody, let's do that. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, and the funny thing about the Franklin Templeton partnership is that it actually started kind of without our knowledge, because Franklin went to the SEC before even talking to us, and they actually started their approval process back in like 2019, early 2020, and we found out about it because we saw an SEC filing. And then after that, of course, we started working with Franklin Templeton. But I just checked right before we came on, and they're just under 300 million in terms of the volume that they have with Benji, which is their asset. Money market fund on Stellar.
The real-world asset.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And so now the question remains, are we about to see a XLM ETF, right? And I had to pull this up real quick. I typed in grayscale large cap because I wanted to check this real quick. XLM is not in the large cap. So I've been talking about how I think that one of the first XRP ETFs could be Grayscale's large cap fund, which includes Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. XRP has now been added back to it, Cardano, and then they just added Avalanche as well. So that's, 6 cryptocurrencies there. But then remember that Grayscale already does have an XLM trust as well. And this is the same type of trust like their Bitcoin one that they converted into a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, could Franklin Templeton be the first to launch the XLM ETF? Very well could be, right? They already have a good partnership. I'm sure that they could get some XLM from Stellar Development Foundation, and they could get the first, XLM ETF through the door. Clearly, they've had interest, right, with the Bitcoin and now the Ethereum one. It only makes sense. It is inevitable to me, in my opinion. And remember what happened. Grayscale can roll over theirs. They already have one kind of ready to go. But we could see many others file as well. But I keep on bringing this back to when gold and silver had their respective ETFs filed back in 2003 for gold and then 2006 for silver. You saw both assets, gold did a 5x and silver did a 10x. And I think that digital assets might be able to do even better. Now, is that going to be spread out across 20,000, 50,000 cryptos? I don't think so. I think it's going to be consolidated to, a few dozen, right, that really take it. And we're talking about a top few, a top couple that really eat most of the share up. But nonetheless, what we're on the brink of, folks, is institutional liquidity opening up and really just pouring into this space. They still don't have regulations figured out. They're still trying to figure out custody. They're still trying to figure out whether or not Ethereum is a security. I'm going to be dropping another video on that later today. So make sure you guys check back on that one. We're going to talk about Ethereum free pass round 2. So make sure you guys come back for that video. And then later tonight, we're going to be airing that interview with legendary investor Rick Rule. You won't want to miss it. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you guys appreciate our updates, you guys already know what to do. I will see you guys in the next one. God bless. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.